aspects of the Jewish marriage customs. The first of which was the betrothal, or the establishment of the marriage covenant. Key points under the establishment of the marriage covenant. The bridegroom took the initiative. The bridegroom traveled from his father's house to the house of the prospective bride. There he negotiated with the woman's father to determine the price, or mohar, he must pay to purchase his bride. Once the bridegroom paid the purchase price, the marriage covenant was thereby established, and the young man and woman were regarded to be husband and wife. From here on, the bride was declared to be consecrated or sanctified, set apart exclusively for her husband. The symbol of covenant relationship was this: the groom and bride would drink from a cup of wine over which a betrothal benediction had been pronounced. Now, in the context of John 14, this is the Last Supper. And what does Jesus institute at the Last Supper? We should all say this together in unison. What does Jesus institute at the Last Supper? It's obvious. Say it. What did he institute?
Betrothal. Marriage.
Communion.
Yeah.
Right, communion. Right.
Communion. Sorry, folks, we made it a little harder than it needed to be. Communion. What we call communion. But it's very clear that Jesus is establishing the marriage covenant. He's wedding himself to us. You know, it's funny. He's wedding himself to us. God is wedding himself to unfaithful men and women. God is wedding himself to unfaithful men and women who say he doesn't exist. God is wedding himself to unfaithful men and women who live in a way that convinces unbelievers that he doesn't exist. Jesus picked Judas and Peter. Jesus called Paul. The beautiful thing about it is he calls us too. And that's why we can always continue to maintain hope.
Amen.
Because before Jacob became Israel, he was Jacob.
Amen.
The trickster was elevated to the status of being called one who strives, prevails, and rules with God. Imagine that. But we lose sight of this because, hey, those were idle words. We don't see Jesus anymore, so he's not coming back. We've got time. So we can watch television and play sports and hang out with our friends. The word gets maybe 5 minutes. Prayer time is non-existent. It's okay though. As long as you continue to prop up the image, to look the part, to like being Vashti, your secret faults will never be made manifest. They won't come out. They always do, though. You realize that?
Amen.
I remember reading somewhere that there's nothing which remains hidden. Neither is there any secret thing which shall not be made manifest.
Amen.
In some book I picked up somewhere. But I'm really just allowing the points we just discussed to marinate. I'm stalling because the Lord is telling me to just wait. Because the essence of the belief that the Word is idle, that God is idle, among other things. There are many more things that are involved. We think there's nothing wrong with breaking covenant. Another name for that, as we learned in Bible study, is adultery. It's time for us to man and woman up. Because we've got work to do. We've got to prepare to make ready, knowing that that preparation has nothing to do with this that passes away. But it has to do with ensuring that our hearts are pure, that we're purifying our souls by not only reading the Word, but obeying the Word, by not only praying, but living fasted lives. I stand before you as a minister of the gospel telling you that Jesus will come back. Esther or Vashti? Vashti was ashamed, not only before the king, but before the whole of the court. Esther's joy was full. Esther's joy was full. Esther's joy was full. Where am I on time, Marcus? I don't want to. It's important. I don't want to start something because God is really pressing me right now.
You have 15 minutes
left. Let's go to the second point for Jewish marriage customs. The period of separation. The bridegroom's return to the father's house. The bridegroom would return to the father's house to be separated from the bride for 12 months. This afforded the bride time to gather her trousseau, or linens, clothing, and accessories for the marriage time, the marriage